and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzodimma. Coming up, more state governors join a waiting list of litigants, anxiously anticipating how the pendulum of justice may swing as the Supreme Court reserves judgment in the Nasarawa and Kebbi States governorship election petition appeals. Top political leaders, including the president, witnessed the swearing-in of Governor Hope Uzodimma of Imo State for a second term in office. Again, welcome to the program. Just moments ago, before coming on air, we heard from the Supreme Court where it has reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. David Ombungado, challenging the Court of Appeal verdict affirming the election of Mr. Abdullahi Sule of the APC as the governor of Nasarawa State. The Apex Court also reserved judgment in the appeal filed by Major General Munimande, the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Kebbi State, challenging the election of Mr. Nasser Idris of the APC as the governor of Kebbi State after being affirmed by the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. The court, presided over by Justice Kudira Kekere, reserved the judgment to a date to be communicated to the parties after counsels to the appellant and respondent adopted their briefs of argument. Last year, INEC had declared Mr. Abdullahi Sule winner of the March governorship election in Nasarawa State. And not satisfied with the announcement or pronouncement, Mr. Ombungado approached the election petition tribunal alleging that his votes were unjustifiably reduced and added to that of the APC candidate. The tribunal, led by Justice Ezekiel Ajayi, agreed with him and nullified Governor Sule's victory and declared Mr. Ombungado of the PDP as a lawfully elected governor of Nasarawa State. Also unsatisfied, Governor Sule approached the Court of Appeal, which reversed that decision of the tribunal, which has now led to further adjudication at the Apex Court. Now, in the aftermath of the Supreme Court judgment, which reversed his sack and affirmed his election as governor of Zamfara State, Governor Dauda Lawal says he's committed to deliver on his rescue mission agenda. While addressing a crowd of supporters and party faithful who awaited his arrival from Abuja, Governor Lawal explains that his plans to the people of Zamfara State is genuine.
Let me thank the judiciary because they brought hope. We know there is hope in this country. And this is just the beginning. They have done extremely well by ensuring justice has taken its course. In spite of all the challenges, I also want to thank the federal government for not interfering into the judicial system and allow them to do justice. This has also brought hope for the entire country as well as the judicial system. Therefore, we remain grateful. Let me reassure you that based on the promises we made during the campaign, the security in Zamfara is of paramount importance. And we are on it. We will continue on it until we find solution to it.
More political stories now. Members of the PDP Rebirth movement are calling for the resignation of the party's Board of Trustees acting chairman, Senator Adolphus Nwagbara, maintaining that his continued stay in office, in their words, is illegal. Convener of the group, Mr. Mike Ikoku, told journalists at a news conference in Abuja that the PDP constitution has no provision for an acting Board of Trustees chairman. The group also blames the PDP's failure to win the presidential election for 3 consecutive cycles on impunity within the party.
The constitution of our party has been sidelined in the various conducts and actions of our highly placed officials and members of our party, unabated. Why will somebody be addressed and accorded the privileges of a non-existent power or existent office, acting chairman, board of trustees, a position unknown and non-existent in the PDP constitution? This is the height of desecration and abuse of our party constitution. We call on the party leadership to restore constitutional order by withdrawing all privileges and recognitions attached to the illegal appellation acting chairman of board of trustee to Adolphus Nwabara forthwith. What the PDP constitution provides is for that fresh election should be held to fill any vacant position in the board of trustees. From the foregoing, Senator Adolphus Nwabara should stop parading himself as the acting chairman of the board of trustees, or we will be left with no choice than to seek legal redress on behalf of the well-meaning members of our great party.
The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodimma, has been sworn in for a second term in office alongside his deputy, Lady Chinyere Ekwomaro. In his acceptance speech, Governor Uzodimma says his second tenure will focus on taking Imo State to the next level by deepening what he considers shared prosperity through massive infrastructure development. President Bola Tinubu was at the event, congratulated the people of Imo State for supporting the governor in winning a second term in office.
Indigents from the 27 local government areas of Imo State, as well as dignitaries from across the country, including President Bola Tinubu, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Senate President Godswill Akpabio, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas, converge on the Dan Anyam Stadium in Owerri, the Imo State capital, for the swearing-in ceremony of Governor Hope Uzodimma and his deputy, Chinyere Ekwomaro. It's also a roll call of traditional rulers, which include the Oni of Ife, Adeyeye Ogunwusi, Obi of Onitsha, Nnemeka Achebe, King Jaja of Okpobo, Dandeson Douglas Jaja, and governors from across the country. The Archbishop of Owerri Catholic Archdiocese, Most Reverend Lucius Ugoji, takes the opening prayer.
Through Christ our Lord.
Next, the Deputy Governor takes the oath of allegiance and the oath of office administered by the Chief Judge of Imo State, Justice Teresa Chukwuemeka Chikeka.
And I will strive to preserve.
The governor's swearing-in is followed by the inspection of guard of honor.
The Executive Governor of Imo State.
In his inaugural speech, Governor Uzodimma thanks the people of the state for giving him the opportunity to lead them for a second term.
My esteemed and beloved people of Imo State, it is to the glory of God that we are privileged to witness this momentous occasion of my swearing in as the Governor of Imo State for a second tenure. I am very mindful of the fact that this would not have been possible without your love and support at the governorship election of November 11th, 2023. Let me once more thank you all most sincerely for finding me worthy to be your governor again for the next 4 years.
President Bola Tinubu describes the governor as a true Democrat and assures Nigerians that there is hope as things will get better soon.
For me to be here in Imo State, to congratulate the entire people of Imo State for being that discerning and determined to vote into a second term, a very unique individual that resonates with a progressive agenda. We are here assuring you that your hopes and your hope are renewed.
Governor Hope Uzodimma is the 7th democratically elected governor of Imo State, and after leading the state since 2020, he was re-elected under the platform of the APC after winning the November 2023 governorship election.
Well, okay, that was Governor of Imo State. Congratulations to the people of Imo and the governor. Let's shift gears now to something else. This time we're heading north to the state called Kano. On Friday, one of the judgments that came through was the affirmation of the election of Governor Abba Yusuf as the duly elected governor of the state after he was sacked by the tribunal and the Court of Appeal. And justices of the Supreme Court said both lower courts were wrong in their decision, and they insisted the numbers of vote that was deducted from his vote because of what they consider unstamped election or ballot papers were now added to him, making him to win that majority vote. They also said the issue of whether his name is on the register of the NNPP as enshrined in the Electoral Act, Section 77, whether or not it's a business of another party, the justices said, look, it's a pre-election matter, and more like calling anybody who comes into the affairs of another party a meddlesome interloper in a clear term. So, because they said they made that decision and they made it resoundingly clear. So, excitement erupted in the city of Kano on Friday as Governor Abba Yusuf headed back as a victor back into the city of Kano and the state. So you're seeing pictures there, the Kwankwasia movement unmistaken with their red cap. That is a conversation we want to have today. I'm being joined in the program by the National Auditor of the new Nigeria People's Party, Mr. Ladipo Johnson. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Absolutely. I'm sure congratulations are in order. And let me get your feel on when those judgments were to be decided. We initially had 6 were to be decided, then we had 9, and then eventually it was 8. But focus was strongly on Kano and Plateau. Tell us were you guys anxious? Were you worried? Were you concerned? Were you prepared for eventuality as a party?
Well, as a party, you're prepared for any eventuality. But we were particularly, I won't say confident, but we were assured in our minds that we would get justice, hopefully, at the Supreme Court. From the initial tribunal decision, we had maintained that it was a miscarriage of justice. Then it went to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal totally left out what was appealed on from the tribunal and then took up the issue of, we feel that he's not a member, forgot the 160-something thousand votes that were the issue at the tribunal. And so everything was taken up at the Supreme Court. And I think that the public opinion and even legal practitioners, people especially when we had a certified true copy at the Court of Appeal that had conflicting conclusion, then it made everyone begin to think, what is going on? So the mood was, as you can see in Kano, very jubilant. It was spontaneous on Friday. The crowds you see here was from Kaduna State and also Kano, but that was on Sunday when the governor went back. So yes, we are happy. We still have one other issue at the Supreme Court tomorrow. Is a hearing to do with Taraba State. Yes, so we're hopeful and praying that things will go properly. Yeah.
Before I let off this issue of the tribunal, of the apex court yesterday, the Supreme Court decided. I want your take as a party man on this particular issue, because one of the challenges those of us who are journalists and watchers have is that we found out that some of the issues that are being brought to the court are issues that, if there were internal democracy, they should have been resolved. And if you have access to the constitution, your party constitution, I'm not talking about NNPP for it, I'm just generally now, the electoral law and the guidelines, it shouldn't have made its way even to the court if
Yes.
It was adhered to. So I wanted to find out the issue. People are now advocating that one of the issues that were raised that led to the deduction of the vote of Abba Yusuf was the fact that the ballot papers were not stamped.
Signed and stamped.
Signed
Some
and
of them,
stamped.
yes.
Which, for a layman, should ordinarily be the responsibility of INEC.
Which is the responsibility of INEC, yes.
Does this, in your view, maybe as a person or as a party, you feel that you should join the call for the burden of proof to begin to shift to INEC rather than political parties?
Yes, but INEC was there, and INEC said, you see, one of the questions asked at the Supreme Court by the presiding judge, he asked, was it Leonard Senior Advocate, I think it was Mahmood or so, that appeared on behalf of INEC. He asked him, he said, were these ballots yours? He said, yes. Did they come from the booklet? He said, yes. You understand? I think he asked the APC lawyer also that, who would be responsible? Exactly what you said. He said, yes, INEC. So do you now punish the average man that has come to cast his vote, or a candidate on the other side, or a party on the other side, because INEC failed to stamp the ballot at the back? How many people, when you want to cast your vote, do you check the ballot at the back to say, oh, it hasn't been stamped? You don't. Okay. So these are some of the things that, we maintained ab initio, and I'm glad that the Supreme Court took them up.
Okay, let's go to the issue of your party. Your former national secretary, I'm trying to remember his name, Olakpose Ogini, had blamed the presidential candidate of the NNPP, Ravi Kwankwaso, for the party's, for the party's misfortune at the tribunal, as well as the Court of Appeal, before we got that judgment. Now, my question is, does this judgment now kind of invalidate his concerns, or you think that his concerns were germane? Because he's saying that you guys, sorry for that word, that Kwankwaso and his people joined the party in 2022 and literally came to hijack the party.
No, my brother, let me just say.
Yes.
Ogini, Olakpose Ogini, former chairman Ogun State.
Okay.
So-called national secretary of whatever they are doing, not a faction of the NNPP at the moment. You understand?
But by the way, let's put it on record, sir.
Yeah.
Who's the chairman of your party right now? Let's put that on record. Abakao is a national chairman.
Yes, he's a national chairman, as recognized by INEC.
Okay, I wanted that. You can go on, sir.
So what happened was that Ogini was one of the first that was expelled. Right? Because he went to adopt some other party's candidates 2 days to election, something funny, right? And petitions came from the state, etc. Disciplinary proceedings occurred. The same Dr. Boniface Anebunam was one of the people, himself and Senator Kwankwaso, were the ones that said to us, what are you, National Working Committee, you are sleeping. You have people that did this and that during elections. What are you looking at? The process started. It affected Ogini naturally and Delta states. Those were the first two that were affected, Ogun and Delta. Okay. And then after that, you will recall that after the elections, the president spoke about government of national unity or what have you. Senator Kwankwaso made it known to the leadership that he had been invited to discuss whatever. They held discussions. But after Ogini's issue occurred, he now turned around and began to sell the thing that, the former presidential candidate is the one that is doing anti-party activities because he met.
More like he's approaching the president.
Exactly. So that was how that happened. That's why I was laughing when you were talking. Because he's my good friend, Ogini, but we're just on different sides at the moment.
There's a lot to talk about when it comes to the NNPP, but we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, there are talks about merger of political parties to unseat the APC in 2027. That conversation has already started. I'll get his take on the program. Join us again.